I know you've been talking with some members of the Republican caucus who were actually at this baseball practice yesterday. What did you hear from them?
Well, it was pretty chilling to talk to them. This is the Congressional Charity Baseball Game is sort of an iconic kind of feel-good bipartisan institution in Washington that's more than 100 years old. And so it was sort of their shock at this happening there of all places. And obviously, finding themselves under fire at a baseball practice. The other chilling thing about it, as many of them pointed out, is that the only reason there was any armed security there at all was because one of their players is the House Majority Whip, Steve Scalise, and he's one of three Republicans who get routine Capitol Hill personal security wherever they go because they're part of the leadership team. If he hadn't been at the practice, they wouldn't have had any Capitol Police security, and obviously the casualties would have been much worse.
So there's always been this debate about congressmen need to be out in the open talking to the people, but especially since the Gabby Giffords assassination attempt a few years ago, there's this discussion about security. I got to think that there's going to be more discussion now about what else can be done to secure congressmen when they're out in public.
Yeah, and I think that applies to town hall meetings, which, again, we're seeing fewer town hall meetings because they become so politically kind of turbulent. It applies to a lot of different things, and it's complicated by just, a subject that came up a lot yesterday, which is sort of the tone and tenor of our politics. It didn't take long for some people in the political world to start pointing fingers, blaming. I know there were obviously people pointing the finger at the political left for the political rhetoric, just as people on the left have blamed the right for its rhetoric when violence has occurred in the past. There was a real genuine effort, I think, by most members of Congress, including the House Speaker Paul Ryan. I went to his address yesterday in the House chamber. That was an unusual and somber event, to kind of get beyond all that and come together. And so there was some genuine kind of across the partisan aisle solidarity being felt yesterday. But again, you had this sort of, it didn't take long around the periphery of that for these kind of symptoms of how bitter our divisions are to kind of creep into the public debate.
And it should be pointed out that the shooter apparently was a Bernie Sanders supporter, was very anti-Trump, if you believe what he was saying on social media. But the president was very tempered in his remarks.
He was. I think overall the political leadership in both parties set a pretty good tone yesterday by not pointing fingers, by trying to kind of appeal to everybody's best instincts. That's, whether that has any lasting effect, probably not. But I think it's certainly the appropriate tone to carry, and it's genuine for a lot of people in both parties.